I said before that we need a system of knowledge which helps us to see what is the nature of the crisis that we're in, what is the ideal state, and how do we get from where we are to where we'd like to be. And in order to cooperate, we have to have knowledge that's complete, certain, consistent, and relevant. And now I just want to briefly look at the Vedic viewpoint and materialism, scientism, see how they satisfy those criteria. Completeness. Well, in principle, the Vedic wisdom tradition, the Vedic wisdom is complete in that it's looking at matter and it's also looking at consciousness. It addresses the issue that what's controlling both matter and consciousness. And also, a very important point, since our understanding of matter is based in our experience of matter, it means that the prime reality is consciousness, not matter. And the Vedic wisdom tradition is consciousness-based. It takes consciousness as the prime reality. Whereas scientism neglects consciousness, even denies consciousness. So in terms of completeness, Vedic wisdom is far superior. Now, certainty. I explained how the Vedic tradition points at essential elements. For example, the conscious faculties and the self. That these are self-evident and undeniable aspects of reality. So we can actually get a degree of practical certainty using this Vedic framework. Whereas scientism gives uncertain results, because it's only dealing with objects, and those objects can in principle always be cut up, changed, substituted, and so on. So Sir John Eccles, for example, he said you can't prove anything that's non-trivial. You can't even prove that the world exists. So, in fact, scientism is not designed to give you certainty about reality. It's designed to give you a good method of comparing results. It doesn't even talk about reality. The ontological question is outside the range of physical science. Physical science is meant for something completely different. And especially it's not meant for talking about consciousness. So in terms of certainty, the Vedic wisdom tradition is superior. Now, consistency. The Vedic wisdom is consistent with the facts, some of the facts that I've put forward, like the basic facts, the fact that we have conscious faculties, the fact that I feel that I exist. As far as consistency, Vedic wisdom is consistent with the known facts, the fact that we have what we've been talking about, we have conscious faculties. We can think, we can perceive, we can act, and the fact that we act, the existence of the self. These facts, direct experience, the Vedic wisdom is consistent with these facts. And it's also self-consistent because knowledge is, the understanding of what knowledge is built into the Vedic worldview. The self is built into the Vedic worldview, and the nature of knowledge is built into the Vedic worldview. Scientism is inconsistent with known facts. It doesn't really at all explain how we perceive, how we think. It's inconsistent with itself. It contradicts itself because it says that knowledge really doesn't exist in and of itself. And when somebody speaks, or when somebody thinks, it's just mechanical actions, and there's no truth value in that. It's not self-consistent because it can't even look at itself, because it only looks at objects. It can't look at itself. And it can't describe itself, and it can't explain itself. And it's not consistent with the conscious self who does science. It ignores completely the conscious subject. So scientism doesn't score on consistency. Scientism doesn't score very high. Now, relevancy. The modern issues that face us are consciousness-based. The ecological problems, economic problems, international problems, sociological problems, these are all consciousness-based. So in order to understand them and resolve them, you have to have a consciousness-based paradigm. The Vedic paradigm is consciousness-based, and also it's talking about the need for having higher human values. So it directly addresses these issues. It shows how you can have a consistent life, consistent economy, consistent ecology, all based on the individual consciousness and the relationship with the universal consciousness. And it shows how to develop higher values and qualities. It talks about individuality, responsibility, selfless love, initiative, and it explains these are all qualities of the conscious self, and it shows how they can be developed. So it's very relevant. It's extremely relevant to our modern situation. Scientism is matter-based. It doesn't include consciousness as something in and of itself. It denies real individuality. It denies real responsibility, because there's nothing to be responsible. It denies selfless love. It denies initiative. So it can't help us to develop these qualities. Not only it can't help us to develop these qualities, but the scientistic paradigm, it degrades these qualities. Like I mentioned this bus. God almost certainly doesn't exist, so just get on with your life and enjoy it. That's the thing, just enjoy. So there's no higher values there at all. It's just coming down more or less to an animal level. So from this point of view, in terms of completeness, consistency, certainty, and relevance, the Vedic wisdom tradition is actually superior to material science.